So last night I got to see Turnpike Troubadours, one of my longtime favorite bands, open for Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan at Willie's Outlaw Music Festival. And seeing this band that I love open for these two absolute legends at this show felt like such a monumental moment, and it really made me reflect on my journey as a Turnpike Troubadours fan. I first found Turnpike in 2017 when they were opening a concert for Jason Isbell in Charlottesville, Virginia. I remember watching their set and thinking it was pretty good, and then Isbell came on stage and said, if this show is out west, I would be opening for them. This was my first exposure to Red Dirt music, and I had no idea how big it was in Oklahoma and Texas, because in Virginia, it really wasn't a thing yet. Red Dirt hadn't quite had that national sweep that it's had in the past few years, where fans from all across the country are really finding appreciation for it. I enjoyed their set, but I kind of put them out of mind until a couple weeks later when my cousin, who had also been at the show, reminded me about them and put on the song Whole Damn Town. And everything just clicked with me. The lyrics, the instrumental performance, Evan's voice. And it set me down a rabbit hole of fandom, rapidly consuming all their records, the kind of smaller singles like Come As You Are and their Alabama cover that they did, and just seeking them out for live performance opportunities as often as I could. Now, like I said earlier, Red Dirt fandom was still very much a regional phenomenon at that point in time. They didn't tour nationally quite as much, but I did get the opportunity to see them in Virginia a couple times after that. Now, late 2018, early 2019, I'm sure many longtime fans remember, things started to hit kind of an uneasy, sour note. Shows were getting canceled, there were rumors circulating about Evan's alcoholism, and just how it was kind of creating some tension within the band, and overall, it just kind of seemed like the days were numbered. There was definitely a sense growing that I was like, this isn't going to last much longer. And so in April 2019, fearing that it might be my last opportunity to see Turnpike live, I went to what was one of the weirdest concert experiences I've ever had in my life. I drove to Hampton-Sydney College down near Farmville, Virginia, to see Turnpike perform at a Greek Week event in the middle of it was like a Tuesday afternoon or something. The show was on a trailer stage in the middle of a gymnasium. Everyone was talking and socializing the whole time. I tried to buy a ticket for this event and they looked at me like I had three heads. It just felt very wrong. Everything about it was just off. I have no idea how I found out about that show. I don't know if it was listed on their website or what, but it was fully a frat boy event. Virginia frat boys did not know about Turnpike Troubadours at that point in time. There were a few people that knew every girl in 7 and 7, but for the most part, people were just talking loudly with one another and socializing the whole time, while one of the greatest Red Dirt bands of all time is just performing, honestly doing an incredible job performing in the background. But that was the strangest thing. It was background noise. How is this band background noise in any context? There were a few other random fans scattered around there, but overall, it was kind of a grim affair. I shuddered a little bit when they tried to slow it down to play Diamonds and Gasoline, because I was like, there's no way you're winning this crowd over with that right now. But at that point in time, I felt like I had to be there because the future was so uncertain for them. Even though I kind of left there with a sort of just bad taste in my mouth, it was a very disappointing and disorienting experience. About 6 weeks after this show, Turnpike announced their indefinite hiatus, and for a couple of years it was very unclear if there was going to be any future for this band. Until late 2021, I think right around Thanksgiving if I remember correctly, when it came out that the band was in fact getting back together, Evan had gotten sober, and that they were working on new music and a tour. As soon as they announced a show in reasonable distance for me, I was there. I thought about going out to see them at Red Rocks that year, but tickets sold out really quick, and I just wasn't really willing to pay the price for a bootleg ticket at that point in time. But I did get to see them at the Red Hat Amphitheater in Raleigh, North Carolina in fall of 2022, with American Aquarium and the Backsliders opening. And let me tell you, it was a triumphant return. Not only was this band that I loved back together after so much turmoil, they sounded better than they ever had before, and the audiences were bigger than they had ever been before. And there was something poetic about the way I had last seen them versus the way I was seeing them in that moment in 2022. Where previously I had seen them in that room full of 500 talking frat boys who couldn't give a damn about the fact that there was a band there, here in 2022, after all this uncertainty, after this long journey, I was seeing them playing a show for 6,500 people who all knew the words to those songs. It was the biggest audience I'd seen them play for on the East Coast. They were doing it with another band that I loved as well. It just felt like everything was right. All of that trouble had been worth something, and what a ride it had been to be on as a fan. It seemed like in their absence, everyone had finally recognized their brilliance. They truly were a phoenix rising from the ashes, as a lot of their merch at that point in time seemed to indicate. And yeah, the audiences have only continued to grow for them. They put out one of my favorite records this year with Price of Admission, which I honestly think is one of their, if not the best record they've ever put out. And I'm just really excited for what they have in store in the future. So when I saw them this past weekend opening for Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson, two of the most iconic and influential artists in American music, foundational artists for country, folk, and rock music, it really just made me appreciate that journey that they've been on, and that journey I've been along with them as a fan. Turnpike Troubadours continues to prove that they are one of the greatest acts in country music, and that they are a mighty band and a force to be reckoned with. And you can really tell how much they love what they're doing right now. I don't think I've ever heard Evan talk from stage as much as he did on Saturday's show. He was pumped to be there opening for these titans of music. And the new songs sound incredible live. They played Be Here, they played Heaven Passing Through, and they played On the Red River, which I'll be honest, I got pretty choked up during. That one kind of hit me. So yeah, the Outlaw Music Festival, pretty incredible experience. I mean, for $80, got to see Waylon Payne, the Red Clay Strays, Turnpike Troubadours, Bob Dylan, and Willie Nelson. And the one thing that really stuck out to me is at 92, Willie Nelson's voice and his ability to play has diminished some, but you can tell that he loves that he's doing this, and you can tell that the audience is grateful for everything he's still giving to them now. I mean, everyone there you could tell was on his side, and I just found that amazing. And I got to hear Willie Nelson sing Always on My Mind and Crazy. I mean, just that was awesome. And look, I'm a big Bob Dylan fan, and for a long time I always said, I don't think I actually want to see him live. The reputation for his live shows kind of preceded them. But I feel like as my fandom has deepened, I've gotten to the point where I can appreciate how weird and eclectic his shows are these days.
We never did too much talking anyway. That also class. It's all right.
And I had a great time during his set. It took me a long time to identify Desolation Row and Masters of War when he was playing them, but once I realized what they were, I was kind of like, okay, I can appreciate what he's doing here with the artistry of it. So, yeah, I don't know. A Bob Dylan show in 2025 is not for the faint of heart, but if you are a fan, I do think it's an interesting experience. Alright, that's all I wanted to share. Long live Turnpike, Dylan, and Willie. If you've gotten a chance to get out to the Outlaw Festival this summer, let me know in the comments below. My name is Brent Funkhauser from Red Moon Media. Thanks for watching. Share with me a little bit about your journey with Turnpike Troubadours if you're a fan. I mean, it's a pretty fun place to be. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and follow along. I talk about Americana, country, and roots music generally on this channel. Might talk about some of your favorite artists here soon.